Alright, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Oh, I think I got caught by a speed camera. I was like half asleep and I was driving towards here. And like I was in like such an autopilot that I didn't even notice that there was a speed camera there. But the only thing was that last time I checked my dashboard, I was going like 55. And when I braked, I was all of a sudden 30. But that's like I remember. I'm not sure if I went up past 60 or not. But yeah, that speeding car caught me because I was autopilot here. But I wasn't in a usual spot. Oh no, I mean same street, right? But I was usually expected it further up. Oh well. But this time I had its light on, so I couldn't tell. I can't remember. I don't think the rear lights are on again. But the front lights are on, but the rear lights are off. I don't know. But it caught me. I think I don't know. Again, I'm unsure because I was really going so slow. Because when I was going half asleep, I'm pretty sure I was going like 40 to 55. So I'm not sure if it caught me going higher or not. Oh well, it is what it is. Currently, it's golden hour. Now, for the game yesterday, Wolfenstein. So far, it's pretty normal. I just, it's an R18 game, 100%, and pretty brutal. But I'm pretty glad I chose the easy mode, because choosing hard mode would be way too difficult. There's nothing to talk about. Really, there's nothing to talk about. By the way, no hunting and fishing today, because we have a surprise delivery work to do. So, therefore, the dock is postponed for another day. Is actually nothing to talk about. And I think it's like golden or diamond hour. But there's just nothing to say. I've been trying to get my sleep. Yeah, we're not gonna go fishing and hunting today either, because nothing's set. Oh no, everything's set up, but I got other things to do, which take higher priority. There you go, as usual. 300, 300. It looks like it's literally done an hour. Surprisingly. Man, it takes so long to set up. It takes so long to set up. Dude, we're so cost out. I didn't even see how much diamond hour's gone now. Diamond hour's been gone for a minute. Wow, I'm so autopilot, I'm really doing the wrong thing. Oops. Yeah, that's my fault. So autopilot, I'm doing the wrong thing, Unfortunately, this thing's uneven, so we're gonna have to just use one. Because uneven. I mean, the thing's uneven, you know? So I don't think we can even do much biceps. It's gonna be a story video, there's nothing to talk about. Except we're not gonna go fishing today, obviously. And we're doing like Wolfenstein yesterday, kind of insane. It's not bad. It's just I can't really play Wolfenstein for very long. It's way too action packed to do it for like 2 hours plus. 2 hours. Should I increase the weight? There's 7.5. Anyways, the that's basically it. Nearly. I mean, no, not really, but I can always skedaddle. So that's what's the best thing about this gym is that even I'm like half asleep, you basically could just like disappear. It's not bad though. It's not bad at all. Okay, so what I was doing again? I will continuing the biceps. I swear. No, never mind. Anyway, so if I go check it right now, then again, I highly doubt that the weight actually matters. It seems like golden hour somehow turned really fast. It was like diamond hour for like the first couple of minutes, and all of a sudden it became like, here we are, 68.35. So yeah, it is what it is. I think that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, well, that's basically it. Definitely gonna be a story video today. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, see you guys soon. I mean, no, never mind. No, yeah, no. Yeah, see you guys soon. Right, into the next segment.
Sorry, I yawned just before I clicked record button. Anyways, back to story time. Like I said this morning, we're continuing the rainy night scary stories. Lock in by Carson G, because he's a G.
Last week, my mom left on her quarterly work trip, leaving the house to myself for just a few days. This was a pretty normal thing, and while the first few times felt cool to be alone for several days, after a while, the excitement faded, and it was just a regular occurrence. I'd just chill and watch TV or play video games, maybe hang out with a friend or something. On Saturday, the day after she left, I woke up to rain coming down, and it stayed consistent all throughout the day. I didn't have anywhere to go, nor did I really feel like leaving, so
Real.
I stayed in.
Yeah, real.
Around 2, the gloomy and stormy weather made me pretty tired, and I decided to take a short nap on the couch downstairs.
Real.
When I woke up, the house was dark. Not because it was late, but the clouds outside had gotten even gloomier, and the rain was coming down even harder. But what had woken me up was someone whistling. Right outside the front of the house, I could hear some guy whistling a soft tune, getting
raining.
closer and closer, until he stopped right outside the front door. I was sure it had to be a delivery driver, casually dropping off a package. But I didn't hear anything else, or hear him walk away. It sounded like he just stopped right outside the door. After a bit of waiting, I got up and looked. There was a man standing on the porch. Didn't look like a delivery driver or worker of any kind. Just some average dude with a denim jacket and wet hair hanging over his face. I'm not the kind of guy to be confrontational. I always preferred to avoid talking to anyone if possible, so there was no chance I was going to open the door or say anything unless this guy knocked or rang the doorbell first. So I stayed there looking out for several minutes.
Nah, 2 minutes later, you call the police. What was he doing? Standing out there? It's like you're only the only one avoiding the rain. You know what I mean?
And the man never did anything. He just stood there, sheltered under the overhang on the porch, and looked at the door. It wasn't even like he was waiting for me to open it. It was really weird and made me feel uneasy about this
Yeah,
guy.
let's go to police.
After those 5-ish minutes, he then started looking around a bit, before walking off the porch and into the rain. I heard him start whistling again, and I moved to the window to watch as he went out to the road and faded out behind all
He's
the
gonna
rain.
come back tonight.
I couldn't think of a single normal reason for what he was doing. Even
seeing
if
if
he
anyone's
was
there.
just shielding from the rain for a moment.
Oh, he was
Why
waiting.
stand in one
Nah, that's why he was seeing if anyone's at home.
place staring at the door for 5 minutes? Overall, though, I didn't know what to do about it. I went back to the couch and tried to just forget it. And around 7, I went up to my room. I had my gaming PC up there, so most nights I would spend the last few hours before bed watching YouTube or playing video games. Being the weekend and with a few of my friends getting online, I stayed up late. I think it was 1 a.m. when all my buddies got off.
1 a.m. I mean, he did take a nap in the middle of the day, but damn.
And so I decided to call it a night as well. I got up from my chair, rolled into bed, and fell asleep. I woke up an hour later to a thump sound. As my eyes started to open, I heard it again. A loud, hollow thump that sounded like it was right next to me. Then, when I sat up, it happened again. It was the window right next to my bed.
Huh?
Someone was throwing rocks or something at it. I moved the curtain and peered out. It was dark and still raining heavily, but there was a man standing below the window. He looked drenched, like he'd been out there for hours, but I couldn't make out what he really looked like. Immediately, my mind went to the guy that I saw whistling outside the front door.
Yeah, he's back.
But I couldn't say for sure. I couldn't even tell if he had the same jacket on.
Could just been a whole new guy.
I watched him reach into his pocket, then throw something at the window again.
Hey,
it
doing?
made me flinch, clicking against the glass. Still, I couldn't tell exactly what it was he was throwing, but from the sound, I felt like it could definitely damage or break the window. Not to mention, it was also just creepy as hell.
Yeah.
I moved away to stay out of range of the glass possibly shattering, then thought about what to do.
Call the police. What?
He kept throwing stuff at the glass for a whole minute, and I figured since he was so focused on my bedroom window, maybe I could go downstairs to the side window and snap a picture of him so that the police would have something to identify him with.
Call the police first.
Of course, my adrenaline was flowing and I wasn't thinking perfectly, but my thought process was that the man might not be standing out there for too much longer.
True. Getting metadata would be kind of helpful. Maybe, kind of. You'll probably have security cameras already, though. Just saying. You probably would have security cameras, though. You know what I mean? Like, you'd probably have security cameras, but whatever.
So I wanted to get a picture before he ran off. Otherwise, I was sure the police would be of no use. I hurried downstairs and moved to the closest window, but when I looked outside, it felt even darker. I couldn't see anything, and as I looked out and held my phone up, waiting to get a view of him, I realized I didn't hear the thumping sounds of him throwing anything at the upstairs window anymore. As the seconds started to pass, I started to feel my body tense up and this almost panicking feeling come through. Before, out of nowhere, a figure ran up to the downstairs window and slammed into it, literally about a foot away from me, cracking the glass.
What?
I ran back and heard him break the window as I stood in the living room and called 911.
GG.
I didn't want to go back upstairs, because if he did get inside, then I'd be trapped up there. After the guy broke the window, though, he started calling out for me, just yelling hello over and over in this dark, gravelly voice. Then he moved to a different window and started hitting it or breaking it, still calling out. The police actually responded really fast, though. He was still outside the house banging on the windows when they arrived. But when he saw the lights, he booked it into the wooded area past the neighborhood. And with the storm, following him wasn't really an option. My mom flew back home and we had a lot of talks with the officers, but there wasn't too much else that happened. Cases like these, where it's just a maniac with bad intentions, are hard to figure out. Like, did he know I was home alone? Or was it just bad timing? And was he stalking the house, or did he spontaneously just decide to attack me for no reason?
Oh, that's hard to say because you don't even know if that's the same guy who was standing outside whistling, you know? It's really hard to tell. What were you doing in that situation? Security cameras would maybe help, but if they really break into your window like that, there's not much else you can do besides defend yourself. So strap, hold a position, go camp, and call the police and wait. You know what I mean? Gotta just camp or figure out something. You know what I mean? Next story. There's not much to really say about that story besides it is what it is.
Maybe I'll get answers in the coming weeks, but so far I got nothing. I just hope it doesn't happen again.
Story 3 by Dante.
A while back, I had a security guard gig at a small hotel. It wasn't in a great part of town, but being fairly rural, it was mostly quiet. The hotel was on the very edge of the town, the very last building before the road takes you through empty fields for miles on end. Because the hotel was small, most nights it really was just me and the receptionist. My job was to patrol outside the building, though. I guess to stop anything from happening before they get into the hotel.
Okay.
Of course, I'd head in every so often to chat with the receptionist or to grab a drink. But most of the time, I'd be standing outside by the door or patrolling around the parking lot.
Hey, that's his job.
This night, almost right when I started my shift at 10 p.m., a woman walked through the doors with nothing but a small purse. She looked young, like 25, but very exhausted.
25? That's young?
Her hair was dripping from the storm we had going on
That's not
that
young.
night,
That's
and
old.
she looked like she needed to sleep real bad. She headed up to the reception desk and got a room, and I was gonna offer to help load up her stuff, but she never came back out for any luggage or bags or anything. So I stayed posted up. With the storm, I really did not want to do any big foot patrols outside. Over the following hour, nothing really happened. It got colder, and the rain seemed to keep everyone at home. No cars driving by on the main road, and no one staying at the hotel moving in or out.
Okay.
Just a calm, stormy night. Around 12 a.m., as I was pacing around the front doors, I noticed someone out in the rain.
Hey!
He was by the few cars in the parking lot and was walking toward the hotel. I stopped pacing and stood by the door once he got closer, then nodded and said hello as he walked up, assuming he was heading inside. But he didn't change direction. He was walking straight at me. I looked him in the eyes, and he had this creepy, tired, and sickly look over his face. And in a way, he almost looked sad. It was strange, and mixed with him being soaked by the storm, it was not a good look. He stopped right in front of me, and his eyes darted to my side, then back up at me. I immediately knew he glanced down at my holster. He stood there for a moment before saying anything. Not long enough for it to really be awkward, but just enough for me to feel something off. "How late is this place open until?" I looked over at the sign right next to me that said 24-hour hotel and told him it was always open. He nodded slowly, then his eyes shifted to the doors, like he thought about going in, but he didn't move. "Are you guys always here this late?" I thought that was a weird question, kinda just the same as his first question. "Yeah, man. Like I said, we're open 24/7, so someone's always here." As I was responding, I think I sort of picked up on what he was trying to figure out. I think he was trying to see if the place had security posted up all the time. Before I could ask anything about it, though, the guy just walked off, back into the parking lot and into the rain. And I didn't see any cars pull out or drive away.
Yo, W Hotel so far, I'm not gonna lie. Y'all got 24-hour security? With a gun? Safe.
So I'm not sure where he really went. I had a read that he was up to something, but still completely speculation. Could have been me just overanalyzing it. Another 2 hours went by, so it was 2 a.m. The storm let up a little, but not enough to really do any big patrols around the entire building. I did feel like since the rain was slower, I'd do a short walk just up and down the parking lot. I walked down the front of the building and looked around the side. No cars or people down there. It was just completely dark and empty. I then stayed at the front but walked into the parking lot. Even from just that short walk, I was already cold and my clothes were soaked through. I turned around.
Okay, but you're a security guy. You should have you should have rainproof security jacket, no? Like, hello? You should be ready for all types of weathers, regardless if it's raining or not. And it doesn't matter if you're cold or not. You're supposed to protect, you know?
And started to walk back. And then across the lot, I saw that man again. He was walking into the hotel, looking at me, but turning his head away as soon as I saw him. He walked straight through the doors, and I instantly knew something was off. I rushed to the front and through the doors, and he wasn't there. It was just the receptionist at the desk. I looked around for a second before she asked me if I was okay. I asked if that guy came in, and what he wanted and where he went. I tried not to sound too over the top about it, but more like I was just making sure everything was good. I mean, if he just walked in and got a room, then I'd look crazy. She said the man that just walked in asked her for a spare key to the room him and his wife were staying in. But when she asked him for his name and everything just to verify, he said whatever and walked down the hall to the staircase. She then asked if I thought something was up with him, and I said,
So you just let him in? So you just let him in? What?
I didn't know. I walked over to the stairs and decided to head up to the second floor to see if I could figure this out. Soon as I opened the door to the hallway, I found him. He was standing outside one of the rooms, banging on the door and holding a knife in his hand, like one of those big hunting knives. He was so enraged he didn't even notice me at first.
Get the gun out.
I immediately unholstered my firearm and pointed it at him, yelling for him to drop the knife and back up from the door.
W security
when he looked
guard.
at me, his eyes were bloodshot and wide open, with
Shoot him.
this terrifying look of insanity.
Shoot him.
And he looked like he was contemplating whether or not to charge at me with the knife.
Light him up.
But after a moment, he did what I told him.
Oh, okay.
I held him there while I called for the police to come, and they were able to take him in.
Yo, W security man.
Behind the door he was at
Was a woman, right?
the exhausted-looking woman that had walked in earlier in the night. I guess they had gotten into some sort of altercation, and she ran away from him, which is why she checked in without any belongings. Though, oddly, she wasn't his wife or girlfriend, at least from what I was told by the police later on. They didn't get too specific or give me too many details. I do know he was stalking the hotel and watching me outside that entire night, though, because the cops said he actually got to the hotel just a minute after the woman did. And he knew which room she was staying in because he saw the light turn on in the window. But that night could have gone 100 times worse. The door he was trying to break through was cheap, and he nearly busted it open. Even if I got there just 30 seconds later, he could have already gotten through and done something horrible. It was by far the craziest thing to happen to me at that job.
Wait, what kind of security rules is that then? No? I don't know how hotels work, but I actually don't even know. What's the point of a security guard then? If they could just walk in, like, you know what I mean? Like, what is the point of a security guard if they could just, I mean, unless like the room's got like, you know, like a room service, right? So like if something happens, they can call the receptionist. Like when they call there's like a phone in the room, and when you call it, it goes straight to the receptionist down below, and then the receptionist pick it up, and if something wrong happens, they'll radio on the security guard, say, "Hey, can you check this room out?" And then he'll go and stuff. I mean, hey, still, W Man's was like, you know, got the gun and stuff, right? He's strapped and everything. Would you really blame the receptionist though? Again, you don't know the exact layout and rules of the hotel, right? You don't know how it works, so you know, at first glance, it'd be like, why would you just let him walk in? Can anyone just walk in, or do they need like a key card or a card to enter? You know, it's hard to say.
And I don't miss working there at all.
Let's check the thing. Man, there's nothing else to watch. There really is nothing else to watch recently in these days. Don't lock eyes with Japanese. 3 true jail horror stories lock in. What is this?
Why do Japanese people avoid eye contact? Everyone might think Japanese people avoid eye contact because they're rude or don't want to talk. Partly true. Eye contact is less direct here than in the West. But that's only half the story. In Japan, looking away is often consideration. On rush hour trains and at konbini counters, people avert their gaze to give space. Strong eye contact can feel pushy or aggressive. When someone avoids your eyes, it can mean they're listening carefully, or being polite, or just shy. So if someone avoids your gaze, don't read hostility. In Japan, looking away is often a quieter kind of respect. And that's why do Japanese...
What? What? How does that even make sense? Just... Unless you're talking, right? Alright, lock in. Let's do one story of these, right? I've returned. Lock in. Mr. Nightmare, the goat. Literally the goat. Story 1 by Anomalous.
When I was 18, I got arrested for trying to steal a phone from Walmart.
What?
It was the dumbest thing I'd ever done, and I still hate even admitting it. I was with 2 friends, and the whole thing started as just one of those stupid ideas. I thought I could open the packaging, slip the phone into my hoodie pocket, and walk out like nothing happened. Instead, loss prevention stopped me before I even made it to the exit. I didn't know they watched the cameras like that. Within an hour, I was sitting in the back of a police car with my hands cuffed behind me, staring at the same parking lot I had driven into like a normal person earlier that day. It was a Friday night, which made everything worse. I kept thinking my parents would come get me, or that I'd just get a ticket and go home, but after I was brought to the station, processed, fingerprinted, and questioned, I was told I'd be spending the weekend in county because court wasn't open until Monday. Hearing that made my stomach twist. I still remember the feeling of helplessness.
Okay, but you were stealing, so like, what are you complaining about? You were stealing, what?
I had never been in real trouble before. I had never even been suspended from school. And now I was being walked into a local jail in handcuffs over one of the most embarrassing decisions of my...
Okay, but you still stole, so like, why you making this sound like it's not your fault? You literally know you knew the rules. You knew the rules of the game. You know exactly what happened if you try steal. So don't act so surprised. Oh my god. Because this wasn't just, you know.
life. The booking process took forever. They took everything on me, including my clothes. Then they gave me an orange jumpsuit to put on. And that's really when the gravity of the situation I got myself in became real. I remember changing into it and looking at myself for a second, feeling sick. When they finally brought me back to the holding area, I realized very quickly that nobody else looked like me. I don't mean that in a better than them way. I just mean I looked young, scared, and completely out of place. Some of the men in there were older, bigger, tattooed, and
Yo, bro got sent straight to prison. What? Yo, bro he got sent straight to prison for stealing the phone. He must have resisted. He's not telling the story. There's no way they would just. He stole the phone, and now he just goes to prison. He must have resisted, right? He must be charged with some extra stuff. Must be, right? He must have been charged with extra stuff. I'm not even kidding. He must have resisted or something, right? Probably. Ooh, going into prison like that though, damn. Just put me in solitary confinement for the next 2 days. You know what I mean? Like, I'd prefer that than going into there before the monkeys.
looked like genuinely dangerous, scary people. A lot of them were loud, acting like this was some fun place to be that they'd been 10 times before. A few of them looked at me like they were annoyed I even existed. Some guys actually made fun of me, calling me pretty boy.
GG,
I tried not to react, but I could feel my face getting hot. I stared at the floor most of the time and tried to look calm, but I'm sure everyone could tell I was terrified.
I'm causing a scene. I'm gonna fight the officer. I'm like, hey, put me in solitary confinement. Do it right now. No? Okay. Start throwing shit. Grab the chair. Throw it. Grab this. Throw it. I'll be like, hey, put me in solitary confinement right now. Get me out of here. And just cause an absolute scene, right? Like, just start shaking the front door. Be like, hey, get me out of here. Can't be in here with them. Put me in solitary confinement right now. I don't want to be in here with these monkeys and retard. Nah, you were some of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Get me out of here now. And I would just honestly cause a scene to get myself in solitary confinement. I'll do that. I will put myself in solitary confinement rather than spend another minute with these guys. They're gonna end up raping and they're gonna do a bunch of nasty ass stuff. GG.
While a fresh group of arrestees got brought into the day room, and we were all told we could make phone calls. I called my parents, and my mom answered. The sound of her voice almost made me break down. I told her where I was and what happened, and then my dad got on the phone. He wasn't screaming, which somehow made it worse. He just sounded disappointed. He told me they had already called an attorney and that I would most likely be out on bail by Monday after I saw the judge. Monday was so far away, though. I wanted to ask them to get me out sooner, but I knew there was nothing they could do. After the call, I had to go back into the day room and pretend I wasn't on the verge of panicking or crying. Later that night, they assigned me to a cell. My cellmate was a man in his 40s who told me his name was Bob.
18 years old with a 40-year-old man. GG, he's cooked.
Almost didn't believe that was his name.
Oh, no.
At first, I was almost relieved because he wasn't screaming or acting aggressive like some of the others. He had a calm voice and talked to me like a normal person. He asked what I was in for, and I stupidly told him. He laughed a little and said that was nothing, that I'd be fine.
Get me out of here now. I ain't sleeping in the same room with this man, right? Get me out of here. I am not sleeping with that. No. Yo, I don't care what charges they put on me. Put me in solitary confinement. Solitary confinement would be so much easier. 2 days of nothing? Easy. Matter of fact, 1 week of nothing's better than 1 day of these guys. They're gonna GG, right? He's gonna like, oh, it's so over. Oh, it's so over. He's gonna. That's actually crazy. What kind of system is that? They just put him in like that? GG.
For the first hour or so, he actually made me feel less alone. He told me how to deal with the routine when meals came, how to keep to myself, and not to let anyone.
That's why it makes me suspect that this guy wasn't in jail for stealing. Cause like, I feel like in New Zealand, you would just get put in a single cell for like 2 days and that's it. Done. Right? For stealing or something. But this makes me think he did a lot more than just stealing. Right? Maybe.
See me looking too nervous. I remember thinking maybe I got lucky, but that feeling didn't last. As the hours dragged on, Bob got too comfortable with me. He started asking personal questions like where I lived, if I had a girlfriend, what school I went to, and if I still lived with my parents. I gave vague answers, but he kept pressing. Then he started making comments about how young I looked and how I didn't belong there.
This man's so cooked. Oh my goodness. Yo, you need to leave that cell and just cause it, like, just get yourself out of there, right? Go to solitary confinement. You know what I mean? Like, I feel safer. Put handcuffs on me and let me sleep in, like, the officer room with, like, they've got handguns and stuff, right? I'd feel safer just sleeping in there rather than another, like, GG. This guy's gonna rape him. It's over. It's over. So GG. It's so over. It's so doomed.
At first, it sounded like a concerned elder, but then it started sounding creepy. He would sit too close on the lower bunk with me when we talked. He touched my shoulder more than once, and once he put his hand on my knee while laughing at something he said.
Oh,
I
nah.
moved away right away, and he smiled like he knew exactly how uncomfortable he was making me. From then on, I dreaded every second the cell door was closed.
What?
The day room became the only place where I felt like I could breathe, even though that place was terrible too. I would wait for the doors to open just so I didn't have to be alone with him. The days and nights blended together, and it all felt like one long day because there was no damn sunlight in that depressing place. The lights never fully went off. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt like Bob was watching me. One time, in the middle of rest time, I don't even know if it was nighttime, I opened my eyes and saw him looking down from the top bunk at me. He saw me wake up and said he couldn't sleep either. I didn't answer him. Those 48 hours felt longer than any full week.
Dude, I would just sleep on the outside. Yo, okay, it depends on the type of prison though, of course, right? But like, I've seen, what is it called? GG. Undercover jail. Like, I'll be sleeping in these ones here. I'd rather sleep in the outside ones, not in the cell. Like, I'd rather sleep on the outside ones. But again, it depends on what kind of prison it is, right? Because every prison is different, you know? This is the prison I think of. Wait, what does New Zealand prison look like? Like, solitary confinement looks way better. What does New Zealand prison look like?
Have you ever wondered what it's like behind bars?
Yeah. What does it look like? Let me show me.
Conflict, or
Show me what the New Zealand prison looks like.
Here. Yeah, when I was like 20, I was frightened.
I don't care about your story. Just tell me what it looks like. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Morning, Jacob. How are you? All good?
Morning.
What do you got on today? It's work. Awesome.
You like to keep it pretty tidy in here, hey?
Yeah.
What's that?
What we're gonna see is.
I think it's a good principle to set.
Yo, they got a
You know,
desk.
be
They got a
tidy and organised
window.
and stay well presented.
They got a little bath. Okay, I mean, it watches him take a shit and stuff. That's fine. Is he by himself?
I have a lot of time
To myself, I find myself on my head a lot, but watch TV.
You got TV?
Telly.
The night starts with.
Wait, dude, that room doesn't even look like a prison. What? That room looks like just a average university student room, no? That looks chill. Except he's only got a TV, but...
Home and away, then Shortland Street. I come in for aggravated robbery last time, and this time I come back for firearms and drug and violent charges.
Do you think about what you did?
To get in here, some against their own family. So,
Sorts of things for the community, for the council. So what are these anyways, Will?
All this Petersburg.
There's nothing better than being out.
You share with someone?
Yeah, I've got a cellmate.
Does it grate you not having
Yo, that room's massive.
a lot of privacy?
Oh my god, he's got a collection of deodorant pictures.
In here?
Yeah, well, all we got is like a shower curtain, maybe that much that could just block a little bit. And then we got a mirror in the corner that could see everything in there. Like, I know it's for their security reasons to see us behind the area where they can't see, but it still lets our cellmates see just about our whole body naked.
I mean,
Exercising
it is what it
fills on the
is.
time. But there's more to it than just staying fit.
it could happen anytime, anywhere, in front of a screw or not.
They work out in case of a fight. Like this one in high security.
If shit goes down and you haven't been training and that fella has, yeah, it's no good, eh?
They have access to their own yard.
The doors open for a short time each day.
Yeah, so it's even enclosed in the top. It is like a cage in here.
Butt naked sunlight. Shit. I'm joking. That's something that is something you'll do though, right? Butt naked sunlight, easy.
There, isn't it?
It's to stop them obviously getting up the cage and up onto the roof. They get sunlight.
Your worst punishment is giving me a free room, free foods, free rent. A bit of slave work.
We get back to the unit, sort of have, your afternoon phone calls and that sort of thing, and just after 5 o'clock we receive dinner.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for a good day.
6 o'clock and Tony's back for lock
Dude, this does not look like a prison. 3 years ago.
up.
Got everything?
Yeah.
Night.
Every day that goes by is a good day because there's a day closer to getting out. And you just got
You speak.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, New Zealand prison looks a lot chiller. Inside New Zealand's prison problem.
Juggling too many hats?
Oh my god,
We
shut
automate
up.
the day-to-day routines that eat your time. Onboarding, leave.
Let's have a look.
Of the 1,100 prisoner staff assaults, it's certainly...
What's he talking about? Anyways, let's continue the story. My bad. Distracted for a bit there.
Week of my life. By the time I finally saw the judge, I was exhausted and yet excited to leave. I barely remember what was said. I just remember hearing that I was being released, and later that day my dad picked me up. When I got into his car, he wasn't angry. He was strangely sympathetic but disappointed. I didn't want to talk about jail, Bob, or anything that happened. I wanted to shower and sleep in my own bed and pretend the whole thing had just been a bad dream. A few days later, I got a follow on Instagram from a fake-looking account. My profile was public at the time, so random accounts weren't unusual. It had no real name and no posts, and the profile picture looked like a dark, blurry room. I ignored it. Later that night, I got a DM from the account. When I opened it, it was a selfie from Bob. His face was close to the camera with that same little smile he kept giving me in the cell. Under it, he had written, "Miss you already." I blocked the account immediately and threw my phone onto the bed. I felt violated in a way.
How did he get a phone? How did the man get how did he get a phone? How did he get...
He knew my real name. He found my profile.
You probably gave him his real you probably gave him your real name when you're talking to him, right? Probably.
I had no idea how. 2 days later, I came home from work in the late afternoon. It was a foggy day, and my parents were both still at work. As I pulled into the driveway, I noticed a ratty old car parked across the street. Someone was sitting inside with their head down. I sat in my car for a second watching it. I couldn't see their face, but something about the way they wouldn't move was concerning. I went inside fast and locked the front door behind me.
How'd you get out?
A few minutes later, while I was standing in the kitchen trying to tell myself I was being paranoid, I heard the front doorknob rattle. Instead of knocking or ringing the bell, whoever was outside was turning the doorknob back and forth like they were testing if it was unlocked. Then they stopped. It was not even 30 seconds later when I heard the back doorknob do the same thing. That's when shit became real and I called 911, as weird as that felt after spending a weekend in jail. I whispered at first because I was afraid whoever it was would hear me. I told the operator someone was trying to get into my house. While I was on the phone, the doorbell rang. The operator asked if I could see who it was. I told her I was too scared to check. I told her I thought it was the man I shared a cell with in jail. She told me not to answer the door and to wait for the officers. By the time the officers arrived, the car was gone and whoever had been at the door was gone too. I told the officers everything. I told them about the arrest, the weekend in jail, Bob, the Instagram message, and the car outside. The second I admitted I had just been in jail, I felt their attitude change. They weren't rude per se, but they didn't seem eager to help either. One of them asked if I was sure I wasn't just shaken up from the weekend, which really pissed me off. Another asked if I had given this guy my full name. I said no.
You probably did.
They left me with a report number, and that was basically it. For the next week, nothing happened, and I tried to convince myself it was over. Then one night, I went to a dive bar with friends. They weren't my friends who knew about the arrest. Outside of my family and the friends that knew, I didn't tell anyone else. We were standing near the pool table when I looked toward the far end of the bar and saw Bob sitting alone. He was wearing a baseball cap pulled down low and a dark jacket, like the guy was freaking incognito. But I knew it was him.
How'd he get out?
He wasn't looking directly at me when I first saw him, but a few seconds later, he lifted his head, and when he saw me looking at him, he smiled. The fear and concern in my face had to be so obvious that my friends asked what was wrong, and I told them there was a girl that I didn't want to deal with and that I wanted to leave. We left through the front, and I kept expecting Bob to come out behind us. In the parking lot, I told my friends I was calling an Uber home, but to wait with me. The second I got in, I called my parents and finally told them everything I had been leaving out. That night, they put their foot down. We went straight to the precinct. This time, with my parents there and with the Instagram message still saved as a screenshot, they took it more seriously. I told them about the attempted break-in, the fake account, and seeing him at the bar. I signed a sworn statement, and eventually I was able to get a temporary restraining order. That was when I found out Bob wasn't even his real name. I'm not going to write his real name here. I also learned how easy it can be to find inmate and arrest information after someone gets booked. My guess is that once he got released, he searched my name through public records or some jail-related system and found enough to track me down. The restraining order seemed to work because I never saw him again after that. But for years after, this crap definitely stayed with me.
I mean, that's a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, public records about who went to jail or not, that's, I mean, you can't say that's bad because, like, that's not bad, you know? Oh, this person went to jail because of this and that. He got booked. This is his full name. This is where he lives right now. Be careful. You know what I mean? So, for tonight, man, that's what, you know what I mean? Also, how did he get out? How did Bob get out? How did Bob get out so fast? Wouldn't he have like a new roommate? Why was he alone in the first place? You know what I mean? There's so many questions. Like, why Bob alone in the first place? Why didn't you go put the new guys with the new guys in the cell? You know what I mean? GG, right? But then again, maybe you just don't don't steal, but then at the same time, if they really wanted to get you, like if the police really wanted to get you, they'll get you. You know what I mean? Like if the police wanted to get you, they'll arrest you regardless. You don't have to do a crime. They'll arrest you. But that's what my method is, right? If I get sent to jail, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go put myself in solitary confinement. I already am in solitary confinement, right? Like, I'm used to just being in solitary confinement. Like, don't leave me alone. You know what I mean? Just, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, just put me in solitary confinement. I'm not going in the same cell room with this monkey or whatever you'll call them people. You know what I mean? Like, no. I ain't doing none of that. Put me in solitary confinement. No? I'll cause a scene then. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Is what it is, right? Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate it. That was a little story time about some jail stuff. You know, we still got some more stories to do. But we'll save it for another time when we fall asleep. See you guys next time, alright? Bye-bye.